Hello, friends. So today I am going to offer a embodiment practice that has everything to do with releasing tension and releasing any kind of charge that's in your body. So it has been my experience that when I feel kind of charged and nervous around things, it doesn't always go so well. So if I can release the charge and get very easy with it, it's more likely to happen, the things that I want to happen, and there's less fraughtness around the whole thing. So for me, micro movement is like the biggest inroad to awareness. Breath, sound, and micro movement are like the entryways into where am I holding tension? What does it feel like? Where is it into this inquiry practice? So we're going to use all of those things today. I'm just going to shut a door or two. Oh, cat in the box in the other room. Yeah, so starting out, let's just talk about what micromovement is and what's possible. Like what are the possibilities? How do I go into this practice? How do I feel into my own body? So we could start seated in any comfortable position or standing or laying down. All of this work is for you, for me, for whoever's participating to find a sort of deeper relationship and presence within yourself of what it feels like to be you in your body today. So let's start with a couple of sighs and in through your nose, out through your mouth, maybe a shake with that. In through your nose, letting it go. So when we shake, we can start to go, oh, there's some part of me that doesn't shake easily. There's a place where you might be holding tension, right? If you're feeling very fragile and you don't have access to a big shake, maybe just a little teeny bit of a wriggle. So the micro movement can be small and gentle, or it can be big. And that's not micro movement, it's macro movement. But underlying the macro movement is micro movement, is this shape flow support, is breath support, is core support, is coherence. When I talk about core support, I'm talking about the support of my organs working together, the support of my spine, my structure, my fascia, everything working together from the center out, or from this center to this center to this center to this center to this center, out to the edges and back. So let's start playing. We've had a few sighs with this idea. It's an idea in Laban called Naval Radiation. It's actually maybe a Bartenia fundamental and sort of a developmental pattern. And the idea is that everything is going out and coming in from your belly. So if we're breathing deep down into our bellies, we can feel that movement of our breath. And this idea is just an idea to play with, right? It's not saying that everyone's doing this all the time. Some people are doing it well most of the time, some people are barely doing it at all. But we can think of it as the breath coming all the way down, low down into the lobes of our lungs, and the diaphragm is then pushing the organs down. So we have the feeling that we're breathing down into our guts, breathing down into our belly, taking it deep inside. And from there, we're just going to imagine. And so a lot of this participatory inquiry practice is about using your imagination and playing with these ideas. So we're going to imagine that we are like starfish or jellyfish, some kind of sea creature that really does have like a center point that everything is going out and coming into. And you can just do it in your imagination or you can bring it into movement. So I could be laying on the floor and feeling into this sort of growing and shrinking from center with the breath, this naval radiation. Ha. Or I could be doing it laying down. I said laying down. I don't know. I could be doing it laying down, seated, standing, whatever feels good, but just feeling this maybe subtle, maybe not subtle sense of growing and shrinking with the breath. So inviting the breath deep down into your guts, inviting the diaphragm to push down, getting movement in the belly, and imagining that like your belly is the center of the pond. And as we drop the breath in, the ripples are radiating all the way out. So there's this life force energy radiating out that's sort of coming from the movement of the breath, inviting in this participation. And I'm starting to move kind of down from my sit bones on the floor. Like I can feel them. I can let my belly kind of roll around and just feeling into what it is to be in my body right here, right now. What am I noticing? And the micro movement can be underlying the macro movement. Where can I go with my micro movement? I can go up, down in rippling, waving patterns. I can go side, side. I can go forward, backward. I can go into these diagonals. And I can just tune in to what feels good, listening in to the fluid nature of my body, right? We are bodies of water. So if I invite in this sensation and my imagination, can I tune into that idea of naval radiation, dropping the drop of water into the center of my body and letting it ripple out? And maybe that ripple is breath, maybe it's movement. It's probably a combo. So as I'm in my exploration, I'm going to start to extend my exhale. Allowing my breath just to fill up naturally coming in. So there's this, again, that sense of growth, growing with the inhale. And then slowing down with the exhale. Maybe coming into myself in a deeper way. If I take out the visual field, it's easier to come into the sensation of being in my body. So closing your eyes if that feels good. And as I'm talking through all this stuff, you can look at me to see what I'm doing, but let your exploration be your own exploration. It may look and feel very different than what I'm doing. Imagining that you are coming into your body without any kind of judgment. There is no good or bad in here. There's no part of you that is wrong or to anything. In this place of equanimity where we can feel a sense of balance with ourselves, where we're neither charged up or like completely flaccid and totally released, but we're in the middle in this aliveness pattern. Noticing where are we blocking ourselves, right? Is there a place that I'm holding too much tension that's kind of stagnating my chi, stagnating my energetic pattern? And if I notice it, then can I let go of it? Can I soften it? Can I be easier inside myself? And if I need, like, what am I doing? What should I do? Come back to that idea of naval radiation, the drop into the belly, radiating out in any way that that lands for you. And as you're in the movement, which may be big or small, it may just be breath, noticing if there's any little tension pattern. So when I'm in movement, I can feel much more clearly what I might be holding on to. Can I let go of that? Can I be equanimitable with myself, with my body, where it's neither so great or so bad? It's just right there in the middle. It just is. So, in a sense, we could call it being in the isness of our body. And if you feel like you're doing that sort of predictive processing, planning out your pattern where you're going to go, then just change it, go somewhere else. Slow something down, speed something up, change the space that you're moving in, add a spiral. And you can also go from one body part to another body part or move a bunch of body parts at the same time. Imagining that you're just like in an ocean and the water is moving you. So you can imagine that it's sort of not volitional, it's just happening. Inviting yourself to soften any idea that you have of who you are so that you're just in this fluid existence. There's no judgment. There's no real control either. At the same time, you're not out of control. You can stop anytime. So it's not like your body is going to suddenly just take over. You, as a body mind, are actually in control. You're just offering some freedom inside through this navel radiation from center to edge, growing and shrinking. Yeah, so with this idea of navel radiation, there's also this natural idea of core distal, core center to distal edge. So we could say, like, wherever you feel like your center is in your torso, out to the edges of your fingertips, to the tip of your nose, to the toes, finding this relationship, center to edge, core distal relationship. Yeah, so navel radiation and core distal relationship are kind of interconnected. The navel radiation could be just smaller and more fluid. And then once we start going core distal, it's like, we're really radiating out. We're really bringing in this relationship of sensation, center to edge, and back again, right? Growing and shrinking. I can go out into the world. I can come back into myself. And I can do it without judgment. It's not better to be here or there. It just is this place or that place. Noticing what it feels like to be in this place or that place. So let's add some sound to this. Let's just do the theta breath. So the theta breath is really simple. It's a soft hiss. So it's not like a hard, it's just soft, like steam releasing from a radiator. Really easy, gentle. Finding that sense of center to periphery. With the theta breaths. Allowing yourself to take resting breaths whenever necessary. Ideally, your inhales are through your nose, but if you're stuffed up, then just do it through your mouth. Inviting in the fluid intelligence of your body, right? Maybe it's something you haven't thought much about or felt into. So feel free to use your imagination in any way, or maybe you spent years doing it. Maybe you've been there for a long, long time. but try not to be in a place where you get kind of crusted and old about it, like where you know what's going to happen. It's like we're decalcifying any kind of crustiness just through this fluid movement. And as we're doing it in a non-judgmental, friendly way, user-friendly. You can add some hms or ahs also. Hmm. When I add the there's a lot more vibratory sound, so my awareness really pops in up here. If you imagine that sound vibration just rippling out through your whole body. And I'm finding for this sound, it's been very interesting to just move my fingers and toes. But for me, while I'm out there in my fingers and toes, I'm really feeling into my shoulders, my back body, my head, my shoulders, the whole back of my body. Just seeing what I can let go of in there. And I like to kind of let my tongue move around as I'm in that. So if my tongue is kind of going like this inside my mouth or moving around, it's going to change the sounds inside of my head. Yeah, it brings in this fluidity through my center. And also sometimes there's like a little kind of nervous system like release. I want to say sometimes it's nice to do that shaking and allow it to come in. But if it's too much, then just calm it down. Be like, no, not right now. You are the person that has the ultimate choice in how this expression in your body plays out. So listen in, be kind and equanimable with the movement and with yourself. Equanimitable, it means that there's an equality to it. It's not charged, it's just what it is, and it's okay. You don't need to judge it. You can just be with it as is. So if I allow my nervous system to do this sort of free flow stuff, which if I wanted to, I couldn't make it do exactly this. So it's like, I'm just like, okay, what are you going to do? What's happening? Which I don't want to spend a whole lot of time there usually because it can be, I don't know, it has its own thing, but sometimes it's really nice as like just clearing out some of the stuff where it's like, okay, I don't have control, but I could stop it. Yeah. I mean, I'm not controlling each jiggly move. I'm just letting it bubble up. There's David Berceli has lots of stuff on this, which is the tremoring, letting your body move, which I highly recommend checking out his work. But sometimes it's too much. So know that you can always go, no, 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 not right now. Soothe the baby. It's okay. But allowing that in once in a while is really freeing, right? Like animals in the wild, if they've injured themselves, usually shake a lot, and that kind of resets the nervous system. Humans have inhibited that movement. We learn to inhibit our movement so much. So this is all an invitation to allow movement and to give yourself freedom to let your body express in ways that are fluid. This isn't the dance of like, you know, performance. It's just an experiential experience, right? It's just to feel into yourself, to unwind. It's not a performance for someone else. It's just for you. In the interests of really just reintegrating parts of your body that may have been stuck somewhere, some kind of system or tension pattern that is like holding on somewhere, maybe you can be like, oh, okay, it's okay to let that go now. And also to honor that when we do start to reintegrate things, when our life does start to flow maybe more smoothly or things, that's a massive adjustment too. So it's like, oh, can I stay in equanimity with myself as I move into this new process or this new freedom? Sometimes we're very comfortable in a more contained, stuck pattern, right? And when we start to free it up, that can be scary. So feel free to always just slow down, do less. Better to have slow, gradual, little bitty changes that we can adjust to than massive seismic shifts that really throw our life into a jumble. So be careful what you ask for as we're in these exploratory places. I mean, sometimes it's nice to let it take you on the sort of trip. And sometimes it's nice just to be very gentle and kind. Yeah, treating your animal body, your fluid body like something you love. Some treating it with love and kindness and nurturing and nourishing. What happens then? And we don't need to be perfect. We can still have our stuff that is imperfect. But what if we can have some kindness, some equanimity, some ease with ourselves? I don't need to hold on to that anymore. Sometimes the stuff that we're holding on to isn't even our stuff. Like sometimes we've taken on other people's stuff and we're carrying it around. So, and this is something I learned yesterday. You can release that to the higher good. You don't need to take it on and take it in. Just release it to the higher good. You don't need to send it back to whoever it came from. Release the stuff. Let it go. Although if it's become part of your identity, maybe you want to take that off slowly and gently. Because sometimes when we let go of these holding patterns, we don't know who we are anymore, right? Oh, I am my resentment towards that person, or I am this thing that happened to me that I'm angry about. That, maybe when we start to let go of some of that as identity, it becomes a little bit slippery being in the world. So how do we renegotiate being okay when we've taken off some of the stress patterns that we associate with us? Sometimes we don't want to let go of things. And, that's serving us on some deep subconscious level that we have to honor that and be like, this is where I am right now, and that's okay. That's also okay. If you get there too fast, you're probably going to swing right back, right? So take your time, right? How far are you going to let that tension go? Ah. So I am going to end this. If you catch it on the replay, please like and subscribe. That really helps. Take your time, be gentle with yourself, loving kindness. Be gentle with the world around you as much as you can, right? The creatures, the air, the water, right? The stuff outside of us, the stuff inside of us isn't separate. We're breathing that air, we're drinking that water. It's coming through us. We're made of water.